Hey guys, welcome to the Monday Night Brain Dump. I think this is the third or fourth one. This week we're talking about closed guard. And we're going to talk about fundamentals from closed guard. Their hands are on the floor on either side of me. I open my legs, put my feet on the floor. My knees are still in contact with their hips. I obviously don't fall wide open. So I'm here. I side bend. You'll see why this is easier to sit up than, doing this. It's a lot more work. So when I side bend, I'm able to put my weight on my elbow. And I'll catch their wrist right here. Reach, their head is here. I'm going to reach over this shoulder. Connect to this hand, right? And I've shot my hip out. Now my hip comes back in and I look over my shoulder. And that should help me fall where their stomach falls across here. And their elbows are on the ground, probably here. Here, and I'm holding onto this one. Okay, from here, I hug the tricep, which is against my chest, to me. And I turn my head. So one more, Kimura. I'm going to feet down, side bend, grab the wrist, hip escape, grab my wrist. Now, hip back in, looking over your shoulder, and then you should be able to roll and fall. And they will be falling to the ground here. Reconnect, recross your feet, hug their arm. That should be hugged to your chest, and then turn. Turn and look over your shoulder on the floor. And that should be the movement you need to finish that submission. My hands, I goof around the floor. Somebody sits up and they try to get this arm, and I go, oh no you don't. I try to take my arm back and sit back. Okay, my energy's going backwards. That's when we should do a bump sweep. Okay, so they put the hands on the floor. Oops, that's a goof. I put my feet down. I go to sit up. If their energy, if they start to disappear from me, I'm going to do it right here actually. I put my feet down, and I sit with my brother, and they go, no you don't, and their energy starts to retreat. Well, my hand, I already did reach over their shoulder, and I'm trying to connect my hands, and maybe they, even before I connect my hands, they sit back. Well, if that's the case, my arm is over their shoulder, so I can do this. I'm going to come up to my hand. You need height, so this one has to be from your hand. And I'm going to hold their elbow. I'm over their shoulder, holding behind their elbow, and my hips come up, and I bump them in the chest. Now you'll notice when I do this, that the hinge over which I roll is my shin on the floor. So my shin, I bump them in the hips, and I come straight over my shin. And what happens to the person here was, they back this away, but you're reaching over and blocking their elbow. That's why they can't catch themselves by putting their hand out. And when you bump them and turn over, you'll end up in mount position. So again, for me, the bottom person, I put my feet down. I went for a Kimura. They start to back up. I need my hand for height, because you really need to get your hips higher than their hips. And depending on their height, you're going to need it. But no matter their height, you're going to want it. You're going to want to be as high as possible. Reach over their shoulder, hold their elbow. Hips go. Your pelvis into their sternum. Bump, and then you have swept them. Okay, feet down, side bend, sit up, go for this. Oops, they ran. So I'm going to come up to my hands, bump, and sweep them. I'm going to do like 2, 3 more. Right, I side bend. I hip escape. That's really important, actually, because I don't want to get my hips caught in them and then try and sit up. It's like much harder to come to my hand, and it's definitely harder to sit up. I want, when I reach for the Kimura, to escape my hip, because my hips go forward very easily, but they don't go, sideways, right? I have to, when I grab the hand, turn my hips. If they start to retreat, I come to my hand, grab their elbow, bump, and I continue them in the direction they were running, tripping them over my lower leg. So, sit up, hip escape, no you don't, and so they're trying to pull away, up to my hand, grab their elbow, and bump them over. They caught my arm, and I didn't retreat, opening me to a bump sweep, but when they caught it, I went, ugh, and I tried to just tackle them back to the ground, so I'm moving forward. Okay, they move forward. They might be feeding you their head for a guillotine. So how exactly to get that, take advantage of that, sort of what could be considered a mistake, is this here. This time I'm going to turn this way, because the important detail is going to be where I put this leg. Okay, so my feet are going to open. I'm going to side bend and come up to my elbow. Now, I want this foot as far back as possible. But now it's next to their knees, or probably on the ground here. So instead of being draped over their thighs, my leg, one of them retreats, so it's next to their knees. And the reason is, if a person starts to drive forward now, I can back myself up the entire length of this leg. back up. And as they chase and their head comes into what should be a V shape, I mean kind of a V shape, I don't want to sit back and then try and catch a guillotine on their way in. I want them to enter this space here to try and knock me over so that there's plenty of time to wrap a guillotine right here. Okay? When I do, I should be able to sit back when there's not a wall. And when I sit back and catch the guillotine. Okay? So when I come up, my foot is back and I'm ready. And when they drive in, I can back up, you know, this much. I can back up all that distance. And my foot didn't leave the ground. I don't kick myself back and my foot comes off the ground. There's no reason to do that to yourself. I have all this space and this space, so I should back up all the space. And I should be folded kind of in half, like a catcher's mitt. And they're gonna come in to me in this shape, run into me. I have all that time to get around their neck and in front of this shoulder. And this is the choking arm. Put that in, I catch my wrist. And when they run into me, I'm just gonna cross my legs. Their head is now in my armpit. And I'm gonna extend and lift my guillotining arm to finish the movement. So the whole thing here is this. Feet come down. And I'm here. You notice this foot is a little bit retracted so that if when I go for the Kimura, they drive into me, I can back up. Now, they continue to come in. I wrap the head. I catch this. I can recross. I only moved because of the wall. And now I can extend with my legs and lift the guillotine, which stays perpendicular to my body. I'm not doing this. And I'm not, you know, nothing else. It comes straight up my body. My wristwatch clasp, you know, draws the line right up my center, and my arm stays perpendicular to my body. The second trio of moves that we're going to look at this week, doing the guard fundamentals, closed guard fundamentals, is armbar, omoplata, triangle. Okay. If you have done these or seen these with two people, that may be ideal. And then you'll understand that I'm just showing the solo drill to practice them. And if you're only watching this video, but you're curious to see, well, what is this armbar, omoplata, triangle situation, you should probably see it with two people, and I would encourage you to look up a video that does that. Look up all three terms, armbar, omoplata, which is O-M-O-P-L-A-T-A, omoplata, and triangle. I would search all three search terms, and you'll find a video of people doing it together. But for now, I'm showing the solo drill to practice them. To mime the armbar from guard, we're going to do this. Cross your feet. Same side, hand grabs the wrist, and I'm doing it thumblessly. Thumb, wrist to my body, reach across, get the tricep, and I'm just going to put my heels down and do a little bump to center the tricep. That tricep hand stays for the whole rest of the move. So when I say let go and grab the shoulder, I mean my wrist grip. Let go, hold the opposite shoulder. Now my left foot goes to their hip, and I'm going to turn my body while I kick my right arm up into their armpit. What you don't want to do is turn onto your side. Don't turn on your side. Stay flat. So I've got my grips, shoulder, foot on the hip, turn sideways, still flat. Bite. Bring this in front of their head. And I have a beautiful arm bar right here. So I'm going to do a couple more. Same side wrist, opposite side tricep. Little bump. Bump to get it centered. Hold the shoulder now. Left foot to the hip. Right leg comes into the armpit while you turn 90 degrees. Bites. This one comes over the head. And you catch the armbar here. Same side wrist, opposite tricep. Bump. Grab the shoulder. Cross shoulder here. Left foot to the hip. Now, you're going to kick them in the armpit while you turn 90. So you're kind of kicking them with your inner thigh. And you've turned yourself now 90 degrees. So this should come right over their head. And you should be able to hold their wrist with two hands now and finish a straight armbar. I just swung for the armbar. Person pulls it out. I'm going to reach right away. They pulled their arm out. It's gone. Reach right away for the wrist that's right here. Right? And then I'm going to I'll hold on to their leg. Rock back. Turn 90 degrees and kick down. When you kick down, you want straight legs. It gives you the most leverage. Boom, to put them down. And from here, you reach over their back. Bring your feet to the side. And again, this is the hinge, your shin. You're going to come up this way to finish the omoplata. This is how to solo drill the omoplata off the armbar. Okay. Wrist, elbow, bump it across, hold the shoulder. Foot to the floor, turn sideways. This was the armbar. They pull that one out, so immediately I'm going to reach for this wrist. And I'm turn 90 degrees and kick down with straight legs. Drape my arm over the back, pull my legs to the side like this, and rock forward. That's the omoplata. It's a shoulder lock. So, one more time. Wrist, tricep, bump, hold the shoulder, foot to the hip, turn sideways, bring the leg over the head. I'm going for the arm where they pull it out. Immediately reach across for their arm here and underhook their leg. So I'm grabbing their arm, stuffing it in. Rock back, turn 90, kick both legs down, arm over the back. 1, 2. You can, if you're not flexible enough, you can use this hand even to move your legs. Boom. And rock forward. You won't give anything up by letting go because their arm is stuck once you sit up. So you can manually move your legs if you need to. The last move in this trio, the armbar, omoplata, triangle, is this one here. Triangle, from guard, sometimes we just do by, stuffing one arm in and jumping for the triangle position. But we do end up in triangle position off of the last two moves that we did, which were the armbar and omoplata. If, when going for the omoplata, you try to sit up but kind of can't, and they turn back in, they end up right in triangle position, and let me show you how they do. Okay, so same side wrist, opposite tricep, bump it across, hold the shoulder. Now I'm doing the armbar, right? Turn sideways, armbar. I'm ready for the armbar, and they pull out. Well, I'm going to grab their leg and their wrist, and I'm going to jam it in, and I'm going to try and rock and kick them down, but I can't. What's happening is instead of my legs crashing through their armpit and knocking them over, they have enough base that they're doing this, and you do not want to go for an almost plata. And an almost plata is when you don't get their shoulder to the floor. When you sit up, you want their shoulder to hit the floor, so this is very vulnerable. But this, not so vulnerable. With that shoulder not on the floor, you might be good. And what they might do is turn around and try to get back into the triangle. But you may see that using my hand to post and turn back in leaves this hand behind, gives you an opportunity to be just around the neck and the arm, which is our setup for triangle. So presuming I'm at the last step, which is the omoplata, and I've got their hand across, I'm hooking the leg, I go to sit up, and I can't. And then they turn back into me. I need to do this. The leg that's over their body, that's over their shoulder, is the one that I'm going to need to move to their hip. Okay, so this is going to represent their hip because I'm going to have to use the floor. So I tried to do this, but they turn back into me. I'm going to put my foot on their hip and lift my hips up super high, and I'm going to catch the triangle right here. Okay, so I try to sit up, but they turn back into me. My foot goes on their hip, right? And I'm going to come up really high right here, and I'm going to block sort of their chest as they come back in. And when I come back up, I have just their head and their arms, so I'm ready for a triangle. So with somebody in my guard, I'm going to look, they're actually obviously their neck and head are here. I'm going to look to put 4 fingers across and on the inside of the opposite side. 4 fingers inside the opposite side. Now, getting a grip in there is not this easy usually. So my best advice to people is to put your finger pads, fingertips, fingerprints inside the lapel, anywhere you find it, right? So if you can't, if they're blocking up here, whatever they're doing up here, and you can find the lapel here, just put your finger pads on it, and you can ride it like a rail all the way to the back, and that's where we want to grab on, okay? So second hand, it's usually more of a problem than the first. First hand, you can kind of like creep your fingers in. I'm kind of doing this, climbing my way up to behind the head. Now, when I get a grip, I don't want to grab it and pull on it. Yes, you succeeded in getting your first grip. Don't make a giant announcement about it because you're just telling them that you're going to go for a choke. If you can, just hang out. Maybe they don't even notice. Maybe even pull it off their neck so it's not even touching their neck, and they can maybe forget about that hand for a sec, bug something over here, and then you can catch your choke, right? So do not grab and tug. Don't grab and tug. Okay, first hand, slide it in, and I want it open, and I want it behind the neck like this. I want to get it as deep as I can, like this. Thankfully, my partner has an invisible neck, and you can see that I am not even grabbing it at all. Okay, so the most I'll grab will be between these fingers, just between here and here. That's the most I'll grab. Okay, second hand's more likely the one you're going to have to ride the rail to get in the back. But what we're doing is coming underneath the first hand, finger pads on the material, slide it back. And I'm going to, with my not clenched hands, I'm going to punch it off the back of their neck. So they should actually, if their neck is here, flush with the material, I actually want to create space behind. What goes into that space? So much of my hands that I can turn my wrists, okay? Because that's how chokes happen. So chokes don't happen like this, okay? Where you can see, you know, the space between your thumb and index finger, that circle. Chokes happen here. This is a way better choke because chokes should be your inner wrist bones coming into contact with a certain part of the neck, right? With the carotid, so we cut off blood. So first hand goes in and is open and loose off their neck. Second hand, ride the rail until you're deep. And again, you can solo drill this just like I have, even just with a gi. Now, punch it straight. You want to lift this way 2-3 inches off the back of their neck so that you can not only grab material, but also turn your wrists to face yourself. I'm now looking at my nails, right? So we say, don't just turn it, don't just pull it. You want to turn it so that the wrist bone is against the outside of their neck. So I punch it, so there's a ton of room for me to do that. Now, if all I do from here is get a stronger grip, and I almost like I want this 2 inches, this is behind their neck, of course, of material to rip. So I'm pulling it apart. And what happens naturally, since the material, this good gi material, meant not to rip, since it won't rip, what gives, what moves is my wrist bones. And they move together. And that space closes, and I don't need to pull a person down. I don't need to open my elbows to make a choke happen. I just need to do what I just did. So, open hand, second hand comes underneath. You might ride the rail, don't forget. Okay, punch it off their neck. Boom, because you need the extra space. Because if it's against their neck, you'll be able to grab it, but you won't be able to turn your wrists. So punch it so you can turn. Okay, now that you've turned, rip that material behind their heads, and with straight arms, my elbows I didn't even use at all yet. With straight arms, you will notice that you'll be able to choke them, right? I'm just smashing my 2 watches together, or I'm, you know, trying to rip this material, but again, the material doesn't move, and since I have straight wrists with my nails toward me, what happens is there's the choke. That's certain death. First hand is open, not a big fist. All right, so I'm draping the armpits over my knees to keep it up. Keep it open. Second one slides back, also open. Punch it, grab and turn. Okay, and now you can apply pressure by that tearing, trying to tear this material here, and bring them down to you or bring you up to them. Sometimes you put the first hand in and the person starts blocking this space. You know, if they block here, I can't get this in because they keep catching and blocking my hand. So an alternative, you know, came to be, which is that I go, instead of going under, I go over. Now you notice I side bend my body. Usually I have to do this to get a good look on this. And I come in with my hand turned totally over, so as if I was going to slap them in the face with my palm of my hand. Turn your hand over, thumb down, and then put it in this way. And now I'm going to do the same thing. Punch it off, get my grips, and now I'm bringing these 2 wrist bones together. Okay? It's very similar choke. Comes about because of a particular problem, which is I put this hand in, and they're blocking now with this hand. Okay? So now I can't, I'd like to come under, but I'm running to their hand. So what I do is I side bend for a better view, and then this thumb comes in. You can also put the thumb here and slide it up. I would say that coming straight in is maybe the plan, though. Turn your palm toward them, thumb down, shoot that in, punch it off the back of their neck. Again, same thing. Boom, you need the space to be able to turn, and if you just grab it, you won't be able to turn it, and that's where we get sloppy chokes that people survive easily, and then my arms are shot. Okay, so instead, this goes in, I punch it off the back of their neck, turn my wrists, and now, like, rip this material back here. What happens is material won't rip, and my wrist bones come together, and that closes the circle. Again, I can pull them down. Okay, so first hand in, side bend, turn your hand over, thumb goes in, punch it, and turn your wrists over, and you can bring yourself back to the center, pull them down to your chest. I put 4 fingers in. All of these start with the same thing, which is the 4 fingers inside. Okay? Now, I'm going to put my thumb in the same side. So their head is still here. So I put my thumb right here, and I'm going to do this. I fight fight, fight, use my legs, right? Use my abs, pull them down, okay? Now their head is stuck to my chest, and when they try to sit up, I kind of don't let them out. But there's a point when I do let them out, and I do it this way. I'm going to side bend and open my elbow. Now their head can come up right here. So when they bring their head up, I'm able to close up the choke, okay? It's a lasso. It's the first thing I heard called a lasso choke. So I'm just going to call it a lasso choke for our purposes. So I've got the first hand in, right? And I put my thumb in, and I pull them down. That might be a product of my abs and my legs. Boom, pull them down, okay? And I don't let them sit up. Have basically an arm kind of over the back of their neck, and I say no. But then I'm going to side bend and open my elbow. Now, stop pulling with your legs, right? Pull your legs, and now kind of don't. And see if they take the bait. The only opening you left was to bring their head up in here, and that's gonna end up in a very tight choke that's preset, okay? So miming this, again, you can do with your own gi. I put this right hand in, put my left thumb in, and I use my legs, and I pull them forward, and I say, you can't get up, okay? My hand is kind of over their head, and then I side bend, and I open my elbow, and if they bring their head underneath, I have my very tight choke already set up, kind of a lasso choke entry. And it's the last of our gi chokes here. Okay, so we've talked about the first trio of moves, which is the Kimura, bump sweep, and guillotine. And then we looked at the next sort of trio of moves, armbar, omoplata, and triangle, little families, two little families. And then we talked about chokes, okay? So we had sort of have a chapter on chokes. And I would say this one falls under the chapter of chokes only because this sweep, which is the scissor sweep that I'm going to talk about, or the push sweep from Scissor, is what Pedro Sauer calls it, and I think that might be a better name for it, because, and I'll explain why, is because of the chokes situation that I created when I put one hand in. So let's start there. There is no defense that's going to be foolproof from keeping my hand out of their collar if I've got a hold of one of them, right? And I told you, yeah, hand is open, right? But I've got the hold of one of them, and I'm going to get this one in. I mean, it's just a matter of fighting. Unless they stop this problem, hand number two, I can't choke them with one hand. If they stop the real problem, which is hand number two, at its source, by blocking my bicep and pinning it to the floor, okay, now I can't get in. You know, because I can't even get started. Here, I can't get past their arm. They've got me pinned, okay? And this is the smart thing for the top person to do. So what I'm saying is, good jiu-jitsu for that guy is blocking my second hand. I've got the collar here, but he's blocking my second hand. There is no choke now. But what I can do is, you know, stay light here, and when he forgets this hand to go do some pass or something, I shoot it in. Okay, but a good enough guy. Let's plan for a good guy. A guy who's not going to let me ever get my second hand going. He's just here. When he blocks my elbow, what I can reach is his elbow material. So I'm going to hold on to the material right at his elbow. He's blocking my bicep, and his elbow is here, and I'm just going to grab some material right here. Now, there's a particular way I like to grab the material, and that is this way. So I get a perpendicular wrinkle right here, and that's what I grab. Okay. So I got one hand in. He blocks my elbow, and I'm going to get a wrinkle, and I'm going to hold on to his, you know, I guess it's his forearm at the elbow with that wrinkle. Boom, holding on. Okay. Now from here, I can straighten my legs, and I'm going to open my ankles, but make my legs heavy. In fact, you don't even have to open your ankles. I'm going to straighten your legs. This is perfect to solo drill, actually. Put your heel on the floor and shoot out to the side now. Okay? So I put my heel on the floor, and with straight, heavy legs, I pick my hips up, and I turn sideways. And then I'm going to make this scissor shape with my legs. I'm holding onto his arm. I've still got my hand in his collar, and I'm making this scissor shape with my legs. Because this knee is a non-moving, that's non-negotiable, they're going to run into it and turn around it and land on the ground here. You'll have the littlest bit of this motion, but that's not, you don't use these muscles to knock them over. Okay? So I have the hand in, they blocked, I grab. My ankles are crossed. I lift my butt up with straight legs, turn on my side, put that knee into block here, and I'm going to do this now. Bring your body onto your elbow and lean forward. I always see people failing to really get the leverage on this until they do this step. So what that does is just a little bit of magic that's going to like really maintain this grip on their elbow and make it easier for you to fall backwards, to arch backwards so they fall. So we're going to put our body right on our elbow. And once our body's on our elbow, we're definitely on our side. I'm on my side so much, I'm almost facing down. That's good, okay? Now I'm gonna arch my back, and it's gonna knock them over, and I'm gonna get on top. So, hand in the collar, they block this one. I can't choke them, so I hold on to a perpendicular wrinkle right here, right? Hold on to that. Straighten my legs. I'm really putting weight not on my heel on the floor in real life. It's really my legs on their legs. So that pins them where they are for a moment while I get on my side. Right? Now put your body on your elbow and arch your back. And it'll be a nice, easy sweep. You can do this to any size person, just beautiful. First sweep I learned, started doing it to big guys, felt so good. Hand in the collar. They block the second one. I get a little wrinkle here. I straighten my legs, lift my hips, turn sideways, and I put my knee across. Okay. My knee's right at their chin. Now, put your body on your elbow. Okay. So don't skip this step and just try to arch from here. Put your body on your elbow. And now, when I arch, it'll knock them over, and we'll have our perfect scissor sweep right there. Okay. So that concludes kind of all my guard stuff for this week's Monday brain dump. It is a lot, but if these are moves you know, maybe you're looking for some solo drills you can do, so this is perfect. Or if you're going to be in class this week, of course, we'll look more in depth at each one, and we'll practice them together. We'll get some reps in. So thanks for being here, guys. Happy Monday night, and we'll see you in class tomorrow. Take care.